Hello loves, it's Sydney Nicole here and I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 things I wish I knew before I started my lock journey. So my lock anniversary was January 26th and I've had my locks for about 4 years now, so I'm really excited about that. I started out with lock extensions and most of it is cut out. As you can see where my hair is like the auburn color, that's my hair, and then the little blacks on the end where it's darker, that's where the lock extension starts. So I've been cutting my lock extensions out as my hair grew. I cut my hair a couple of times and they're almost all gone. And I have loved this lock journey so much. Getting locks is like the best decision, one of the best decisions I've made in my life. And I actually wish I would have got them sooner. So let's get right into the 5 things I wish I knew before I started locks. Alright, so before we get into the 5 things I wish I knew about locks, it is close to my lock anniversary. My lock anniversary was January 26th. I did take some pictures on the day before that day to show where my locks are now. Well, I just took pictures, and it happened to be the day before, so I'll include that in the video. But yes, I'll include a slideshow of videos and photos from 2021 until now of my lock journey, and I hope it inspires you if you're thinking about starting locks. I hope it inspires you whether you're going to start out with lock extensions or if you're going to do the traditional route. But let's get into those 5 reasons, and with no further ado, let's get right into the video. The first thing I wish I knew before I started locks was how versatile locks can be. I think I was hesitant to get locks at first because I thought I would be limited with what I could do with my hair, but there are so many lock styles that you can do. Like, look at Chloe and Halle and how much they changed their hair when they were on Grownish, when they do their music videos, when they perform. It's so many different things that you can do with your locks. I'll insert some pictures of different styles I've done with my locks so far. Some things I haven't tried yet is wearing a wig or putting weave over locks. I would like to try that in the future to change up my hairstyle. But even if you don't want to wear a wig or get weave, there's a lot of different hairstyles you can do with the locks themselves. And I wish I wouldn't have let that hold me back from getting locks. I actually wish I had gotten them sooner. I think locks, the way they look, fit how I look. Something about it just fits me more so than other hairstyles. So yeah, I wish I would have got them sooner and wouldn't have been afraid, because the versatility with locks is amazing. And when I do my locks or get my locks done and I have a new style, I just feel so great. I just feel so beautiful. And locks are they're a beautiful hairstyle for women. And yeah, it's just, I wish I would have did it sooner. Another thing I wish I knew about locks is that how unique your lock journey is compared to others. Before you get locks, there's always somebody you look to that have locks and you're like, I want my locks to look like hers. You have this lockspiration that you look to. And some of the people that I looked to before I got locks were one of them was Narissa Irving. She has locks that are like long to the floor locks, and they're so thick and they're so beautiful. She was the first person that I looked at and I was like, I really want my hair to be locked. Of course, my hair looks a lot different from hers because the way I started them was different. The thickness of my hair is different. The texture of my hair is different. So your locks are going to be unique to you. It's not going to be exactly like another person. And that's okay, because everybody's locks are beautiful in their own way. I don't think I need to have super thick locks. And sometimes I look at people with like sister locks and I'm like, man, I wish I would have got sister locks. But like, I am grateful for how my locks look now and the size that I chose and how they look now. But yeah, if you have a lockspiration or somebody who inspires you to get locks, just remember that your locks aren't going to look exactly how that person's looks, and embrace how yours look along the way. And it also depends on if you start with lock extensions or if you start with growing it out naturally, or what size you get, or what your hair texture is, and the thickness of your hair, and things like that. So it's going to be different for every person. So don't get disappointed if your locks doesn't look just like somebody else, but remember, yours are beautiful in its own way, and I'm so grateful for how my locks are turning out now. Another thing I wish I knew is that your locks transform over time. So your locks, they're going to look different from when you first started them to when you're, 4 years and they're more mature. So that can be if you have lock extensions or if you grow them out naturally. So for an example, I'll insert a picture somewhere right here of what my locks looked like when I first got them. And I'll insert a picture here of what they look like now. So the only difference I see now is I think they're a little thinner than when I first got my lock extensions, which is fine with me. Just the size of them are a little smaller than the lock extensions. I think the lock extensions were a little thicker. And yeah, and they're not as uniform as the lock extensions too. Once your locks grow out, there'll be some imperfections in them too. So there might be bumps, there might be places where they're a little thinner than the rest of the lock. It just depends on how your hair grows out. So that's another thing. But I wish I knew that my locks wouldn't look exactly like it did when I first got them, which is totally fine because I'm still happy with them. I still love how they look, but that's another thing you can consider when you get locks. Not only that your locks won't necessarily look like someone else's, but also they can grow out differently than you expected in the beginning. So that's another thing I wish I knew about locks, and something that you can keep in mind if you are thinking about starting locks. Another thing I wish I knew about locks is that your hair does not have to be perfect all the time. I used to think, and when I got locks, I would have to get a retwist every 2 weeks and it had to look fresh all the time. But really, it's good to give your hair a break so your hair won't thin over time. And plus, sometimes when your hair is a little frizzy, or if it's not as kept as you want it to be, I mean, it still should look neat, of course, but if it's still a little frizzy or you got some new growths, those are often the times where people tell you that they love your hair and they love your locks. That's sometimes where I've gotten the most compliments. So your hair doesn't have to be perfect all the time. Locks can get a little frizzy. You can have some new growth over time, but it doesn't have to be perfect, and it's still beautiful just the way it is. So that's another thing about locks. And also with styling too, you should make sure that you're careful about styling. Like if you're wearing a ponytail too much, or wearing updos too much, or doing twists or braids too much, so your locks don't break off and you give it a break too. So that's another reason why you don't want your locks to be perfect, absolutely perfect all the time, because you don't want them to thin out or break off. So that's another thing I wish I knew before I got locks. All right, so the last thing I wish I knew about locks is the salon prices that come along with it. So I do a mix of going to the salon and doing it myself. Most of the time I do it myself, but when I need to get it colored or cut, I usually go to the salon. So salon prices can be expensive when you get a retwist and a style and other things added to it, like maybe you want to get a rinse, a CV rinse, the apple cider vinegar rinse, or maybe you want to get a certain style, or there's a lot of factors that come into what the price of the salon will be. So I do a mix of both. Most of the time I retwist my hair myself, so I'm doing that myself and styling my hair most of the time. I really only go to the salon when it's time for color, which I'm going to be due for color soon because my roots are growing out. But yeah, so I usually only go to the salon when I need color and if I want to cut or anything. I think I am going to layer my locks at the salon too. I think I want them to be layered longer in the back and shorter in the front. So I think I'm going to do that at the salon too. But yeah, it can get a little pricey. when you go to the salon to get your locks done, but it's not something you have to do all the time. And you can even not go to the salon at all and always do your locks on your own. It just depends on your preference. And some people like going to the salon regularly because you're getting it done professionally and you know it'll turn out the way you want it to. So it's just your choice, but I wish I knew about the salon prices before I got locks. Even though they are mostly low maintenance, they can be expensive to keep up if you're going to the salon all the time. But again, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I'll insert some pictures here, some styles that I got at the salon, and over here some styles that I did myself. So if you want to, you can comment below, what was your experience of having your lock journey? What are some things that you learned? What are some styles that you tried learning that locks are more versatile? Who did you look up to when you first started your locks, that started your lockspiration to help you get on your lock journey? And if you are thinking of getting a locks, do you think you're going to do it now that you know these 5 things? Comment below to let me know. So now I will show you a slideshow of my lock journey from 2021 until now. And it'll be a mix of photos and videos of my lock journey. And I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, if you're going to start your lock journey, comment below and tell me when you're going to do it and what inspired you to do so, and if this video was helpful. Bye, loves.